Welcome back, focus learners, to another explainer. For the past couple of years, AI video creation has felt, well, a bit like pulling the lever on a slot machine. You typed in a text prompt, crossed your fingers, and just kind of hoped the black box spit out something close to what you were imagining. But that era, it's officially over. Today, we're leaving that AI video slot machine behind and stepping into an era of absolute surgical precision. And it's all thanks to a massive paradigm shift from Google. I want you to consider something right off the bat here. What if your video editor didn't just understand flat pixels, but actually understood real-world physics? Like, what if it knew exactly how gravity works, how objects break, or how light bounces off different surfaces? Well, buckle up, because that's exactly the reality we're stepping into today. Okay, let's dive right into this. Here's exactly how we're going to unpack this massive update to Google's Creative Suite. First, we'll cover the Omni Video Revolution. Second, mastering real-world physics. Third, conversational video editing. Fourth, locking in consistent characters. Fifth, vibe coding custom tools. And finally, number 6, the AI agent pipeline. So, starting us off with section 1, the Omni Video Revolution, from slot machine to surgical instrument. This right here is our first major paradigm shift. We're talking total multimodal control. This isn't just a tiny upgrade to a single tool. No, it's a complete restructuring of how we interface with creative media. Gemini Omni fulfills the ultimate multimodal promise. Multimodal video generation means you're no longer stuck just typing text. You can feed this model literally any combination of inputs: text, a handful of images, a recorded voiceover, real video footage, or hey, even a rough hand-drawn sketch. It takes all of that and synthesizes it into a cohesive, high-fidelity, dynamic video. It's drawing on deep visual understanding, which fundamentally ends the era of just typing and praying for a good result. Now, as a practical baseline, there's a specific number you really need to keep in mind, and that's 10. Currently, 10 seconds is the maximum clip length for outputs coming directly from the Omni Flash model. It's actually not a hard limitation of the model's architecture itself, but rather just the current deployment reality. Also, and this is absolutely crucial, every single clip generated carries an invisible Synth ID digital watermark embedded right into the file. So if it goes through a content credential check, it'll immediately be flagged as AI generated. In a time overflowing with deepfakes and misinformation, having this invisible digital watermark isn't just some neat little feature, it's a critical safety net for the internet. Moving right along to section 2, mastering real-world physics, unprecedented cause and effect. We all know that a video model is only as useful as its understanding of our reality, right? I mean, it has to actually know how our world works. Just a year ago, AI couldn't even figure out how many fingers a human hand was supposed to have. But now, it's literally calculating kinetic energy. In early testing, a prompt simply asking for a ceramic teapot falling off a kitchen counter and shattering on the floor yielded an absolutely incredible result. And this brilliantly illustrates the leap we've made. The teapot doesn't just drop straight down like some flat graphic, it actually tumbles with real rotational momentum, perfectly obeying the laws of gravity before hitting the floor and creating a completely accurate outward spraying shatter pattern. It is just a stunning display of a model actually computing physics. But honestly, it gets even better when we test multi-element scene logic. Imagine a complex causal chain. Let's say a gust of wind hits a street market. First, the canopies ripple, leading the wind. Then paper bags lift off the tables. Following that, a vendor reacts and grabs his hat. Omni sequences these interdependent reactions in perfect logical order. For creators, this is a real game changer. It means you no longer have to painstakingly animate overlapping actions. The AI acts as your underlying physics engine, simulating reality for you. Which brings us to section 3, conversational video editing. Iterative, chat-based micro adjustments. Historically, AI video has had this massive, frustrating pain point. If you made a typo or if just one tiny detail was off, you had to re-roll the entire thing and lose your original shot completely. Well, conversational editing changes all of that. Instead of the traditional start from scratch and hope for the best method, where you basically toss your hard work in the trash, Omni uses a turn-based conversational approach. You keep the exact shot you love, open a chat interface, tell the AI what specific element you want changed, and boom, it performs an instant micro-edit directly on that existing clip without touching the rest of the frame. This unlocks sweeping macro environment swaps, like say changing a sunny park to a rainy night, or incredibly surgical micro-edits. In one test, the model seamlessly shifted the hue of a subject's jacket to red without altering the person wearing it or the background behind them at all. You can even upload your own real-world handheld camera footage and ask Omni to change the visual vibe or cinematic color grade. And here's the crazy part. It will perfectly track and maintain your original human camera movement. That is a staggering technical feat. It means an indie filmmaker can shoot shaky footage on their phone and have the AI grade it and swap out backgrounds with the exact precision of a Hollywood studio. All right, section 4. Locking in consistent characters. The holy grail of AI filmmaking. This feature right here directly solves the absolute holy grail, the biggest historic problem in AI filmmaking, character drift. Google Flow 2.0 has introduced a dedicated characters tab, and let me tell you, the workflow is beautifully structured. First, you upload reference images of a face, or just generate one right there in the tool. Second, you define the persona. You literally type out their personality, like paranoid 1970s FBI agent or brave warrior, so the AI knows exactly how they should emotionally react. Third, you can design or clone a custom voice model for them. And finally, when you write your video prompt, you just type the @ symbol and tag your character. It's that easy. For example, creators generated a hyper-realistic medieval knight. By locking him into the character tab, they were able to generate images of him from completely different angles, and even a full video of him riding a horse, with his facial features and armor remaining flawlessly consistent. And because they attached a custom deep British accent voice model to him, his vocal delivery remained locked scene after scene after scene. The massive takeaway here is that you create your actor once, and they are yours forever. Let's move to section 5, vibe coding custom tools, building mini apps without code. Now we're shifting gears to what is arguably the most wild feature in this entire update, the ability to build your own software, right inside the software. This is called vibe coding. So what is vibe coding? It's using natural language to describe a functional software tool you want, and the interface actually builds it for you without you having to write a single line of traditional code. Think of it like having a senior software developer sitting right next to you, building exactly what you need just by listening to you describe the vibe of the utility. Now, what's really interesting about this slide is seeing how the community library is already just exploding with wild custom tools. People are vibe coding things like advanced image editors that can calculate 3D depth to offset text behind objects. There are tools that turn simple sketches into realistic renders, automatic camera movement filters, dynamic social media comment overlays, and, I kid you not, even abstract claymation converters. To show you how remarkably practical this is, one creator simply typed, "Create a tool that turns everything purple in the scene into glass." In about 30 seconds, Google Flow coded a brand new interactive UI widget right there on their screen. They uploaded a photo, the tool isolated the purple elements, and seamlessly morphed them into highly realistic glass. And if it wasn't quite right, the custom tool actually had interactive sliders to manually tweak the physics of the glass. You are literally building personalized production tools on the fly. And finally, section 6, the AI agent pipeline, orchestrating the virtual studio. This brings us to the intelligence layer that manages this entire studio, powered by the Gemini 3.5 Flash model. You can really think of the AI agent as your tireless co-producer. It lives right there in a chat panel next to your workspace. You can feed it a full script, and it will read it, brainstorm visual styles, and then, this is key, ask you for permission to execute multi-step tasks. It can automatically batch generate 3D assets, 2D animations, and video clips iteratively across your entire pipeline. This means you aren't just an editor anymore. You're essentially an executive producer directing an autonomous team. The profound reality of all this is summarized perfectly by a creator in one of our source texts. After watching an AI instantly build a custom rendering tool, they just sat back and said, "Seriously, man, it's just math now." The magical, unpredictable black box of AI has finally been distilled into predictable, controllable equations and interfaces. We finally have our hands firmly on the steering wheel, which leaves us with the ultimate takeaway for this explainer. The barrier to execution is completely gone. You know of an entire film studio, a cast of perfectly consistent actors, an infinite props department, and a team of software developers all housed in one controllable interface. The only limitation left is your own imagination. So with all of this power at your fingertips, what original story are you going to tell? Thanks so much for joining me today. Keep learning, and I'll catch you in the next one.